Okay, we have fingerboard selection now. Let me zoom in. Some of these awesome looking fingerboards. Wow. So let's talk to Pete about some of these options.
Hi, everybody. As you said, these are the fingerboard selection and fingerboard options. This is one of my standard fingerboards, which is Murado. I use this for anyone who wants a darker fingerboard. It also has a great sound. It's very balanced sounding from the mid-range up to the top end. This can sound like maple if you want it to, but for the most part, it's just got a very smooth musical sound, and I can put it with a lot of different woods and get a very musical sound.
So you kind of use that instead of rosewood as a standard.
Right, and it's harder than rosewood. It's not really a rosewood. It's more like an ebony. So it's actually got a lot of attributes of ebony and a lot of attributes of maple as well, especially if you enhance the treble. You can really get the sound sizzly like maple.
It's got a beautiful grain to it.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's exotic wood. It comes mainly from Bolivia, South America. So it's just a great standard wood. So there's no upcharge on anything like this. This is what it starts with. Another one, the other fingerboard I like to use as a standard is maple, and for
good old standby for most things.
Yeah, it's bright. It's very musical sounding. It's very stable stuff, and so all that contributes to making it a really good fingerboard wood.
That piece has some nice.
This actually has some figure in it, which this would still be considered probably a standard piece. And it's usually I most always go with quarter sawn maple for the
Stability reasons.
stability. If it's bird's eye, it's not typically quarter sawn, but I aged my bird's eye for quite a long time, so that's an optional fingerboard, but that's also very nice stuff too.
Okay. So let's talk about let's talk about how it starts. Let me see how you get your wood from the beginning process.
Well, for example, like this is a piece of Ziracote.
That's a big old block.
Yeah, and this is pretty much how you have to kind of buy it. I mean, I can get my Murado in blanks, which I still have to dimension, but most of the wood comes in huge chunks that I have to basically resaw, dimension and get it to a blank size, and then I have to actually take it to the actual fingerboard dimensions.
How many fingerboards will you get out of that piece?
It varies, because if you look at this piece, you'll see that there's some flaws.
Right.
And I have to basically cut everything up, and then I have to go through and I have to cull everything. So I might only get 2 decent fingerboards out of this piece.
Oh, wow.
That
looks like it should be like 5.
Right. And some pieces I get all the pieces I need out of it. Other pieces, I'll have to work around stuff like that. And if it's got any imperfections or cracks or anything, I have to not use it. So that's one reason why this wood is expensive as it is. There's a lot of process that goes into getting a fingerboard out of it, but there's also a lot of expensive waste that can go into it as well, especially when you get to the exotics.
Right. What else we got sitting?
Yeah.
So if I want to upgrade my base, what are we looking at as far as fingerboards?
It depends on the species and the piece. Like the piece like this is about $400, and this is just stunning.
Yeah, it is.
Macassar ebony, and I see maybe 1 out of 20 like this. 1 out of 20 pieces might be this nice. It's all nice stuff. It's all really high quality, but this is just exceptional.
Yeah, it is.
The customer chose this for his base, so that's going to go on a base here very shortly.
That's a lucky guy right there.
Yeah.
What else you got on the table?
I got some East Indian rosewood, which is one of my new favorites. Now this is an actual rosewood, so this has more of those qualities in the top end that people like, with a sweetness in the top end.
Right.
It's gorgeous stuff. It looks beautiful. I use this in more vintage applications when I'm trying to do the Lion's Pride, which is based on a jazz bass or P bass design. I'll use this a lot.
Sure.
Kind of softens the high end out a little bit.
Yeah, rosewood is pretty important to those designs.
Yeah. I like ebony for fretless, but one of my new favorites for fretless and for kind of an ebony substitute is the Cataloche, and this stuff is just gorgeous. It's heavy as all get out, but it's rock solid. Works great for fretless.
Which you need for fretless. Yeah.
Yeah. So this has kind of become a substitute, but this is also becoming very hard to get. Comes out of primarily the Yucatan.
I love this right here. That's so great.
The Yucatan Peninsula, and coming out of there now, they've stopped harvesting a lot of it, along with the Ziracote. It's getting very hard to get it, and it's also getting very expensive to get good stuff.
Sure.
This is another new favorite of mine, which is called marble wood, and
That's great.
this has a lot of properties similar to Wenge's. That's probably the best, closest example of stuff I've had, but it's still denser.
Has a nice extended top end and
Yeah.
slapping fingerboard there.
Yeah, it does have a nice. It's full sounding though. It's a lot like Bacote too, which has a fullness to it. So it's been. I've used it very well with fingerboards. I also do some tops with it, and it's one of my favorites now. It just looks great.
Nice. So this is just a small cross section.
It's a
of many
small
things.
section of what I have available. I mean, as
Right.
you can see in over here, if you can follow me, we have quite a few different selections for different fingerboards. We've got Bacote, we've got Cocobolo, we've got just about, I try to keep a good selection of several different types of fingerboard woods. Pale Moon Ebony, that's pretty.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty special. So that I don't have much of that, and I will only see so many instruments.
So is that from the same tree as normal ebony and they just call it pale moon, or is that a different species?
I believe it's a different species.
Wow.
I don't think this actually grows with the ebony.
Look
I
at
might
that
be
figure.
mistaken, but yeah, it's
Who cares where it grows? It's awesome.
exactly.
Not in America, I'll tell you that, right?
No. Yeah. That might actually end up becoming a top.
Heck yeah.
So that's probably why I have them together.
You could do that at the top and the neck, all pale moon. That sounds like an estate series base to me.
Yeah, definitely. There's some premium bird's eye. I don't know if you can see.
I
the
don't know
figure
if I'm
on it.
getting the figure on there, but
Some flats on. So there's a lot of choices for fingerboard woods for people to choose from. They basically just have to let me know what they're looking for. Here's some other rare stuff that's not always available, which this is a rosewood from Central America. It's just different.
that's a rosewood.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm starting to collect more Honduran rosewood and Guatemalan rosewood, which is very, very hard, very dense, and gives it a great ping tap, great tap tone and ping sound, so that it actually is very musical.
Well, that's one of the things I want to add. Like when I picked my bass out from Pete, we actually came down here and he sat with me and we did tap tones, and Zero Cote did it for me. But it was just neat to hear how all those different pieces of wood react, and like listening to the tonality really hit.
It's a big chunk of Bacote.
Wow.
So you see, that's how it comes in, and I have to make this all down into fingerboards. So that's
Yeah, you're not just ordering fingerboard blanks that come in.
No. And this one, because it's so thick, this is going to sit up here for quite a few years before I actually end up using it. So ebony. That's some more Bacote, but that's some really nice, crazy figured stuff.
That's great. Yeah, there's so much variation even within the same species to like pick out and figure out what you want. But that's great. Thanks for giving us this cross section of the fingerboards. Hope
No
that
problem.
helps people.
Yeah, thanks for watching the video, and check out the rest of these videos for more content and information on what I do. Thanks.